Welcome to Everyday Reviews. This here is the brand new Polestar 3, and man, we are lucky. We're here in beautiful Vancouver Island, and we are gonna take this thing, not just on the road, on the track, and even off-road. Let's go. The Polestar 3 is no small vehicle. In fact, this shares the same platform as a vehicle that we just drove a couple weeks, which is the new Volvo EX90. Now, this would be the last vehicle in their lineup that will share a platform with Volvo. The ones after this will have their own bespoke Polestar EV platform, and you know what, they are going gangbusters with their models. They got the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4 coming, and we had a look at that concept BST, and if that's any indication of what the future of Polestar is, yeah, you know, sign me up. I want one of those for sure. But yeah, I would say this is kind of like a compact to mid-size vehicle. We only have 2 rows instead of the 3 row that the EX90 has. If you want to compare it to, let's say, the Tesla Model Y, this is pretty well larger in every dimension for that vehicle. So that gives you a good idea. So let's have a closer look around. The Polestar 3 will be available as a fully loaded launch edition model with twin motors. Total power, 480 horsepower, or option with the performance pack that bumps it up to 510 horsepower. Standard, you get dual chamber air suspension, power retracting door handles, as well as soft closing doors. Performance trim increases wheel size from 20-inch to 22-inch wheels with performance tires instead of all seasons. Now here's something you don't see very often. This thing actually has a front hood spoiler. Not only does it look cool, it's functional. It moves the air better, making better efficiency, meaning more range. Let's have a look under it. Opening the hood is actually a little bit different because the release is on the edge opposed to in the middle. So there is a tab there that we can just push and up it comes. You see it's nice, neat and tidy. There is a front storage area or frunk here. You have a middle partition. It's a decent sized tub, and I like this folding cover for it. The Polestar 3 comes standard with a power liftgate. Once it's open, you have a large squared off opening, easy to load things in and out. Just like the EX90 that we tested, this does have the air suspension, and that's standard regardless of what trim that you do get, and it makes it a little bit easier. You do have a built-in divider. If you need more room, of course, you can fold those rear seats down, giving you plenty of room. Plus there is a ski pass if you want to, you know, shred the slopes a little bit. The inside of the Polestar 3 does have some familiarity to the EX90 that we drove. Mainly, I love that front speaker on the dash. So this does have the 25 speaker Bowers and Wilkins system, 1610 watts. You do get a 14.5-inch vertical screen. It's a Google-based system, but it does have CarPlay and Android Auto. One thing I do wish though is that this screen could rotate, so you would get actually vertical or horizontal use, maybe for using some of those apps when you're waiting for someone, playing some games or watching a movie. Really, really simple. That's what Volvo has tried to do. They're trying to make things minimalistic, yet everything has a function. So there's nothing here just for looks, even though things do look good. So behind the steering wheel, you do have a digital display as well. We have a head-up display, and to make your adjustments on the steering wheel, for instance, you do go into the settings there, and we can actually go and change our controls. If we want to change our mirrors or our steering wheel, we'd actually do it all through, first of all, the steering wheel and the buttons. So up and down just like this, and left and right would go back and forth, just like we had on the EX90. It's simple, and I like the size of the steering wheel as well. Comfort-wise, we have Napa leather seats. Now, if you look in the back of the seats, this says 100% traced Napa leather. It has animal welfare secured. Volvo does try to be as sustainable as possible as a company, and they transfer that over to their cars, same as the wood that's used on the dash that you see here. You get the bright yellow seat belts on here, and if you look on the seat belt, it says since 1959. because Volvo was the originator of the automotive seatbelt, and they remind you right there. I do like the interior of this. I would say I like it probably a little bit better than the EX90. It's it's definitely sportier. You do get phone as a key as well. You have a card key. This is the actual key fob though, in case you want to carry the key fob down. It looks like this nice little white tile here. Storage wise, we have a deep compartment down here. There's a radio. Look how deep it goes, and that antenna is all sucked up there. And you have two USB-Cs in the front, and I like this little flap area. It has an elastic, so you can pull things and you can fit things in that area as well. So overall, really, really comfortable. Let's have a look in the back. Now this back seat does offer a lot of room. You sit fairly low though on this vehicle because it is a sportier type of a vehicle than the EX90. I love the perforations in this leather. Of course, you get those signature yellow seat belts for the Performance Edition. We have our own climate control and heated seating in the rear. Of course, a completely flat floor since this is based on an EX90 platform, an electric vehicle platform. Large skylight. There is no shade though. And I said that about the EX90. It would be nice if they actually had a shade, but it is fairly tinted. Okay, in the back of the Polestar 3, hey, it's an electric vehicle. First thing you notice, completely flat floor, but also we get our own heating controls in the rear. So this is a tri-zone system, heated seats back here. Love the perforations. Like, look at the perforations even on the armrest. If we push that in, there are drink holders, nicely accented in this chrome. You get those signature yellow belts here. There are no sunshades. If we roll the window down, let's see, does it go? It goes all the way down. Kids will be really happy about that. You got auto up and down. Now, one thing that I wish that it had, this is really good for performance-wise, is that you sit nice and low, so you keep that center of gravity lower, but having the seat bottom a little bit higher would provide a little bit more thigh support. There's really good room for your feet under here, but yeah, a little more thigh support would be nice. Those seats do not recline, or they don't actually slide forward and back, but there is a lot of room, and because you ride low, you get a lot of headroom on here. So yeah, let's drive. On-road, passengers are treated to a very quiet cabin, and it uses an infrared windshield reducing heat as well as laminated glass. The Polestar 3 uses blended brakes, so it's mainly regen braking, and it won't activate the 4-piston Brembo brakes until it senses more than 0.3 Gs of braking force, and then it will use both regeneration and the friction brakes afterwards, allowing the system to recapture as much energy as possible. Because of this, I did find the brakes a little bit on the spongy side mid-pedal. Speaking of pedals, if you want to put as many electrons back into the battery, you can activate one pedal driving. The nice thing is you can turn it on or off. Acceleration is brisk like most EVs, however, to really test it, we need to head to the circuit where there's no chance of us getting the car impounded by local law enforcement. Track driving isn't going to do you any favors in terms of maximizing range, but along with all the aerodynamic aids, the P3 uses a torque vectoring dual clutch system in the rear, which not only helps to aid in cornering, but can disconnect the rear if cruising or under mild loads. It results in maximum range of 506 kilometers or 315 miles. Now that's coming from a large 111 kilowatt hour battery, and that can charge up to 250 kilowatts. So what's powering this? Well, you have two motors, only all-wheel drive in Canada for now, and this thing will put out a lot of power. We are talking 510 horsepower and 671 pound-feet of torque. Yeah, so this thing will move, but the nice thing about it, it's not just all about the party trick of just neck snapping power. everything. The delivery is very, very smooth. It does have a very premium experience when you're driving this. And for a large crossover or SUV, if you want to call it that, it rides fairly flat. So we are on the racetrack once again. So I'm going to just kind of really disrupt it here. And it's actually holding its own. What's so great about testing on a track is that you really get to take the car to limits that you wouldn't normally experience on the road, unless it was an emergency. Even performing evasive maneuvers, I'm really impressed how this big, heavy EV stayed in total control. 0 to 100K or 62 miles an hour is done in just 5 seconds, and with the performance pack, that brings it down to 4.7. The air suspension will lower the Polestar 3 up to 20 millimeters in 2 stages depending on the speed, and the ZF active dampers do a great job adjusting to the conditions. Now, these are stock cars, by the way, just regular production showroom cars. They don't have any fancy tires on them. I love how this thing corners. Where the all-terrain tires may come in handy is off-road, and boy, Polestar really wanted us to test out the new Polestar 3. In hill descent mode, the suspension raises 40 millimeters for extra clearance. A manufacturer taking you on the track isn't something unusual, and a lot of times off the track as well, like off-road, but not when it's an EV and it's not an off-road 4x4. And it really shows the confidence a company has in their product. So we are in this, pretty well mid-size crossover electric vehicle, and we are on this very, very quite a technical off-road course. And right now we're kind of going on, it's almost like an iron shackle. We can't see, but with the cameras, it is making it so much easier. You can see all around. You have a 360 view and you can see the front. And what's quite interesting, I've never seen, is it will actually show you your actual approach angle when it gets too low, in centimeters right there. So handy. Also, since this is all-wheel drive and it's electric, it's so responsive. It can just apply power wherever it needs. We're showing off the capabilities of this vehicle so well. We have, areas where we have a tire off the ground. We are putting it completely sideways. Yeah, more than what anyone will ever do with their Polestar 3 at all. So yeah, hats off to Polestar for having confidence in the product and letting us take this on the track and off-road. I'm not going to emphasize this anymore. This is not a sports car. It's a daily driver, and Polestar has designed it for that, and they've done a great job. It's a well thought out, comfortable, stylish, 510 horsepower electric SUV with little to no compromises. So who are the competitors in this growing class? Well, that would be the EX90, of course, the BMW iX, the Cadillac Lyriq, Acura ZDX, and you can even throw in the Kia EV9, which really is not in the premium segment, but it does offer some premium features. The Polestar 3 starts at $95,900 for the launch edition, and if you add on $7,000 for the performance pack, gives you a total of $102,900 Canadian dollars, which is on par with the rest of the premium competition. So what do you think of this new Polestar 3? Leave a comment below. See you on the next Everyday Review. Ciao!